Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to our weekly session of systematic study of Bhagavad-Gita under Gita Amritam Rasamalyam. Today we are on session number 51, and we have just started chapter 9 last week by His Grace Amrinda Prabhu, and the chapter is titled The Most Confidential Knowledge, also known as Raja Vidya Rajaguhyam Yoga. So let's see what is there for us today in offering. As usual, we are enjoying our travel in our Goloka Express train, which we know for sure is taking all of us to Goloka one day or the other. If not this life, next life. But we don't want to prolong it to next life. We want to go in this life itself. At the end of the life, we all want to go to Goloka. So we hold each other's hand, and we right now live in the experience narrated by acharyas to us on what is Goloka, where every step is a dance, every word is a song, and every day is a festival. We don't have to wait for a specific day for a festival. And we are in the ninth station of the travel, which is Rajavidya Rajaguhyam. And here Krishna is now going to reveal the Aiśvarya-Jñāna to us after explaining the most important 8 characteristics of knowledge of pure bhakti earlier under 9.1, 9.2, 9.3. And we will see what sort of inconceivable relationship Krishna has with this material world. So with this, I wish to pay my humble respects and obeisances to my revered spiritual master, His Holiness Bhakti Swarupa Damodar Swami Maharaj, also known as Dr. T.D. Singh in the scientific circle, was a peace ambassador for bringing all the scholars and scientists of all faiths and even atheists together on a common platform, and then conducted several interfaith dialogues, champion of science and spirituality interface, and was widely accepted by even Nobel laureates for his work in promoting Bhagavad-Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and all other literatures in a scientific way. So let me pay my obeisances first to him. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitamena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Namao Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Swarupa Damodar Swami Iti Nami Namasad Bhaktamani Manipur Udbhavaya Cha Srila Prabhupada Lasatavani Pracharine Ratayate. His samadhi is there in Radhakund. Anybody who wants to visit Radhakund can definitely visit his samadhi and take his darshan there. And of course, we pay our respects and humble obeisances and seek blessings of Srila Prabhupada, our founder Acharya of ISKCON, who is always at the lotus feet of Sri Nityananda and who is our Adi Guru. So with this, Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutle Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namini Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarni. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advait Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So with this we enter into the chapter 9, which is called as Raja Vidya Rajaguhyam. And I just thought that before jumping into the nectar of chapter 9, let me share a short story with all of you, which explains the glories of the 9th chapter, like we did in the chapter 7 also, I think. So are we all ready for that? Yes? Okay, here it goes. So this is a story that Lord Shiva shared with Parvati. Okay, so fasten your seatbelt because this story has got an inside story and it has got further another inside story. So there are 3 levels of stories. So you need to be alert here and then understand, realize, and appreciate this particular story that Lord Shiva shares with Parvati Devi. So Lord Shiva says to Parvati Mata that there was a town, called Mahishmati. Mahishmati actually is significant somewhere in MP area on the banks of Narmada River. Even in the ninth canto, there are some kings which are mentioned from Mahishmati town. So in this place, Mahishmati, there lived one Brahmana, and his name was Madhava. So this Brahmana was a very good Brahmana. He strictly followed all the injunctions of Vedas, possessed all the good qualities to be a top class Brahmana, and he was expert in performing all the yagyas. And in the process, he received a lot of charity, which he is to again use for performing the sacrifices. So one of the times when he was performing the sacrifice, he decided that he will, as part of offering in the sacrifice, he will offer a goat. So as you can see in that slide, so a goat was uh, brought in the sacrificial arena, and they started preparing the goat by cleaning, bathing, and all that, whatever the rituals have to be done before the sacrifice. So just when they were about to sacrifice the goat suddenly started laughing loudly, much to the surprise of everyone present there. And the goat said that, "Oh Brahmana," you know, in a loud voice it says, "Oh Brahmana," that means to Madhava, it is now saying, "What is the use of performing all this kind of sacrifice if it is going to bind you in this karmic process of birth and death cycle?" So everybody was stunned when this goat is now speaking, and it is giving revealing a knowledge, something which is very, very precious. So they all inquired, and the Brahmana realized that this is a special goat. So he inquired with the goat with the folded hands like this, and he says, "Oh, my dear goat, please tell us, how did you become a goat? What is your secret of previous life? Hmm? In which caste you belong to? And what was your nature of activities that you performed?" So with this, he asked. So this goat immediately remembered his past life. And the goat replied, "Oh, Brahmana, in my previous life, I was a very pure Brahmana like you. And I was performing all the Vedic sacrifices, all the rituals, activities, perfectly as per the Vedas I was following. And I was married. I had a child also. So one day, my wife wished to worship Durga because our child developed an incurable disease. So to cure from that disease, my wife said, "Why not we worship Durga?" And for this purpose, as you know, for Kali worship, basically that's a goat sacrifice is very common, different animal sacrifices. So a goat was brought to the temple of Mother Durga, and the goat was about to get slaughtered. Now, as the goat was about to get slaughtered, that goat hmm, actually spoke to this Brahmana, saying that, "You're going to slaughter me, you're going to make me, my children, fatherless. So I curse you that you'll also meet with the same fate." Hmm? And saying this, the goat left its body and the goat was slaughtered. But now what happened was, at the time after he died, when this Brahmana died, and he became a goat. So that's what he is now explaining to Madhava. But fortunately, because he was a well-read Brahmana and he was attached to the lotus feet of Govinda also, he remembered his previous lives, based on which he is narrating. So Madhava was stunned with all this because, after all, he is also Brahmana and he was about to do the same thing. And then Madhava, out of curiosity, asked the goat that, "Do you remember anything else apart from this, from your previous thing?" So the goat said, "Yes, I remember. Would you like to hear that?" So now we are going inside another story. So the goat went on to tell Madhava. He said that there was a place, Kurukshetra, which is basically a place for giving liberation. So in Kurukshetra, there once lived a king by the name Chandra Sharma, and he was a very nice, ritual, good king with all virtues. And one of the solar eclipse days, normally in solar eclipse or any eclipse, charity is given. So on a solar eclipse day, this king, he wanted to give something in charity to a Brahmana. So he invited a qualified Brahmana, and he presented to him all the necessary things for charity. And along with that charity, he also wanted to give one Shudra to him, just to help, black Shudra. And so whatever help is needed for the Brahmana, the Shudra can offer. So the Shudra also was given. So suddenly what happened was, as you can see, from the Shudra's body, two Chandalas, suddenly appeared. One came from the heart of the Shudra, and one came from the body of the Shudra. From the heart, the Shudra that, the Chandala that appeared, was basically none other than sin personified, and that entered into the body of this Brahmana as they were standing close. And uh, this Chandala, which was also coming out of the body, also entered into the body of this Brahmana. To the surprise of the king, this Brahmana was completely undisturbed. And therefore the king wanted to know, who are these two Chandalas who suddenly entered this like Pishacha in your body, and why were you not disturbed? Because the king was very stunned. So then the Brahmana revealed that I was undisturbed because I was, these, first of all, let me tell you who these two persons were. These two persons, one of the person was sin personified, who entered into my body. And other one was an offense personified, who also entered my body. But because at that time I started chanting the 9th chapter of Bhagavad-Gita, and I was always remembering the lotus feet of Govinda, suddenly from nowhere, the Vishnu Dutas appeared, and then they completely threw out these two Chandalas out of my body, and I was completely freed of them. That's why I was not disturbed. So as soon as this, verses of 9th chapter came on the lips of Brahmana, and remembrance of the lotus feet of Govinda came, Vishnu Dutas came and they saved him. So what do we understand from this? That first of all, we understood the glories of the 9th chapter, which we are about to unleash now. Most important thing is that Karma Kanda, Karma Kanda is a set of duties prescribed in the Vedas, can only once again bind you in the cycle of birth and death. Whereas when you follow Bhakti Marg, which that Brahmana had also chosen, when you follow Bhakti Marg in a proper way, with the goal of purely remembering the lotus feet of Lord Krishna and serving him with love, that results into purification of the heart, transformation of the heart. And therefore, all the sins get eradicated, and we are always under the protection of Sri Vishnu, who sends Vishnu Dutas for us and releases from all fearful situation. So this was the story that Lord Shiva shared with Mother Parvati as part of the glories of this 9th chapter. So with this storyline, let us now enter into the 9th chapter, where the first 3 verses of Raja Vidya Raja Guhyam were already covered last week by Amrendra Prabhu. And we know that 9.1.1 to 9.3 refer to the glories of Raja Vidya. That means before Krishna is going to speak about the knowledge part, he actually gave the glories of the knowledge. So the 9.1 spoke about the greatest spiritual secret. Then 9.2 spoke about the 8 qualities of the knowledge of bhakti. And 9.3 spoke about the faith, which is the essential foundation of the spiritual life. And from 9.4 to 9.10, which we will cover today, this is basically includes the Aiśvarya-Jñāna. That means the Lord's inconceivable relationship with this material world. So the acronym for this chapter, 9th chapter, is King. K for knowledge, which is covered from 9.1 to 9.3, that is the glories of knowledge. And I for inconceivable relationship, which we are going to cover today under Aiśvarya-Jñāna. N for numerous types of worship, 9.11 to 9.25. And G for glories of bhakti, 9.26 to 9.34, which concludes the chapter. So a quick recap. We will not spend too much time because anybody wants to hear more about 9.1, 9.2, 9.3 can hear the last week's session by Amrinder Prabhu. It was covered very much in detail. And for just the, we'll just cover the essence of it. 9.1 essentially covered two important points. That is Guhya Tamam. So Guhya Tamam is basically the most confidential. So 9 point, see, there's a degree of confidentiality that goes on increasing. Like Bhagavad-Gita chapter 2 to chapter 6, the first part of Bhagavad-Gita, where knowledge is given about matter and spirit. That is Guhya. To know about this is Guhya, that is confidential knowledge. Then chapter 7 and chapter 8, where Bhakti is introduced now, because chapter 7 to chapter 12 is Bhakti Yoga. In chapter 7 and chapter 8, Krishna introduces Bhakti. So that is more confidential. That is Guhya Tara. And chapter 9, which we are discussing now, is knowledge of Kevala Bhakti, which is most confidential. That is Guhya Tama. So this describes the various aspects of Krishna, Aishwarya, and the excellence of all the pure devotees, etc. And the second important point of chapter 9.1 was Anasuyave. So Anasuyave, we explained that Krishna is sharing this to knowledge to Arjuna because Arjuna is non-envious. Anasuyave is non-enviousness. So we have to be non-envious of Krishna or of the pure devotees from whom we are always getting a chance to learn. So that's a criteria, prerequisite. So we already learned in chapter 4 that one has to be friendly with the Lord and one has to be a devotee of the Lord. These two were prerequisites, and now we learned the third prerequisites, that is to be non-envious of the Lord. Then in 9.2, one of the most important verses of Bhagavad Gita, we learn this 8 different characteristics of knowledge of pure bhakti. That is Raja Vidya, Raja Guhyam, Pavitram, Uttamam, then Pratyaksha Kamam, then Dharmyam, and Susukam, and Avyayam. So these were the 8 different characteristics which are basically this knowledge is the king of the knowledge. It's the most secret of all secrets. It's the purest, Pavitram, purest knowledge. And it is giving us a direct realization, perception through self-realization. It's a perfection of all religion, Dharmyam. Susukam, it can be performed with full joyfulness. And Avyayam, it is eternal, everlasting. So then, of course, in the third verse, Krishna explains that this is revealed only to people who are having faith. Because for the faithless or the doubtful souls, he will not reveal this. Oops. Okay. He is not revealing this knowledge. So we follow the path of faith, because faith in association of devotees leads to devotion. And once you have faith and devotion, it leads to perfection. That is complete surrender to Krishna. Okay. And if you don't have faith and if you keep on doubting, then it's very difficult for Krishna. Krishna will not reveal, and then we will go more away from Krishna. So, and then most importantly, because of that, we get attracted towards his energies, that is illusory energy, that is Maya, and we get trapped in this path of birth and death, the cycle of birth and death. Just 1 second. Okay. So there is a good analogy of how, we are faithful for something. We actually have faith, but our faith is not having the full conviction. Like for example, in Bhagavatam, there is a very nice verse 4.31.14, which says that Yata taror moola nischanena tripyanti tatskanda bhujo pakshaka. So what it means is the tree, as we know, has got roots, that is moola. It has got branches, twigs, it has got leaves. Now, we have faith that when we pour water onto the roots, hmm, automatically the branches will get nourished, the twigs will get nourished, the leaves will get nourished. You don't have to individually go and pour water in every leaf. That will be foolishness. So automatically, when we pour water in the roots, the water goes to all each and every part. So similarly, we have to have the faith that when we worship Krishna, when we serve Krishna, then all of his, that is, no, the Devi Devtas who are his actually empowered, assistants or supervisors, they will be taken care of. I mean, they will be pleased. We don't have to individually go and try to please in the karma kanda process, as we saw in the, how the Brahmana became a goat. Because in karma kanda process, there are pious activities also, and there are sometimes, opposite activities also. So we have to be very, very careful. And also the pious activities will keep binding you, because the pious credits will give you a better birth. At the most you may get heavenly birth, but you are still bound in the cycle of birth and death. You are still bound in this material universe. The whole idea of bhakti is to come out of this cycle of birth and death. Hmm? So in that connection, you can say there are three levels of people uh, who are in the path of bhakti. The third level is basically kanishtadhikaris, or the people with weak faith, and they don't have much knowledge on the scriptures. But we want to go beyond that to second class, which is madhyamadhikari, where the faith becomes very, very firm, and then serving Krishna becomes an automatic choice and not an option, and we try to learn scriptural knowledge. We are still not having the firm understanding of scriptural knowledge. But the best would be we become first class devotees, Uttamadhikari. When we come to the Uttamadhikari platform, our faith is firm, we are well versed with all the scriptures, and then we will surely make substantial progress. And then there is no chance of anybody shaking us. Sometimes people with wrong beliefs can shake us and we fall down. But when we become a top class devotee, Uttamadhikari, then nothing can shake us. So with this, we enter into the first verse of the day, that is verse 9.4, which talks about the Aiśvarya-Jñāna. So the Aiśvarya-Jñāna is basically Krishna is everything, and how Krishna gives this knowledge about his greatness, how he creates the material world, and how he sustains it, maintains it, nourishes it. All that describes his personal characteristics, and ultimately this leads to pure bhakti. So let's see the verse. Maya tatam idam sarvam jagat avyaktamurtina matstani sarva bhutani nachaham teshva avasthitaha. So let's understand this. The translation is, by me in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. Let's try to understand this in more detail. So the first thing is, Krishna says, Maya tatam idam sarvam jagat avyakta murtina. So this sometimes is little bit confused when you put both these first two lines and the next two lines together. It leads little bit of confusion. I mean, or even some people may say it's like a contradiction, because Maya tatam idam sarvam, he is everywhere, and then in the next verse he is saying that all beings are in me, but I am not in them. Mastani sarva bhutani nachaham teshva avasthita. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. He is everywhere, but he is not everywhere. He is in everything, but not in everything. Everything is in him, but everything is not in him. So this sounds a bunch of contradiction, but in reality, dear devotees, there is no contradiction. Both the statements are absolutely true. So here, how the way we can understand is that, let's see one example here. Yeah, explanation. So although he is everywhere and everything rests upon his spiritual and material energies, he does not lose his personal aloof existence. He is not perceivable through gross material senses. So the first two lines, Krishna, where he says that I am present everywhere, Maya tatam idam sarvam, Jagat avyakta murtina. So what it means is that I am present everywhere, but we cannot see him. Why? Because he is present as avyakta murtina. That means he is present as a unmanifested, in the unmanifested form in this material world. In this material world, he is present in unmanifested form. So therefore, he is not visible to our material vision, material eyes, because he is avyakta in this material world. Okay. And then if you see the next two lines where he says, Matstani sarva bhutani na chaham teshva avasthitaha. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. So what does it mean? So all beings are in me, I am not in. So when he says I am not in them, it's basically the personal representation. But all beings are in me, that means it's through his energies and expansions. Because somebody will say that on one hand, Krishna says that as a Paramatma, I am present in everybody's heart, isn't it? As a super soul, he is present in everybody's heart. So why does he say that I am not present in them? So we have to understand the spirit behind it. The spirit behind the statement is when Krishna says that all beings are in me, it means that all beings are dependent. They depend upon me. They need my support for their existence. They need they are completely resting on me. That is what it means. They are depend upon me for their maintenance. And when he says that I am not in them, it means that I am not depend upon them. So the whole idea is the spirit to be understood is dependence. We are depend upon him, but he is not depend upon us. That's what he means, that all beings are in me, and but I am not present in others. So this is how Krishna's expansion, works. So through his expansion, he is basically relating all his energies to us. And through his expansions, he is controlling all this entire creation by entering into it. So let's see this now with proper examples. As you can see, I've put 4 dots here. They represent something which we'll know. So the first one, in a practical way, we'll try to understand. So let's see electricity. Now we all have electricity in our homes. Okay, electricity runs the fans. Electricity runs the television. Electricity runs the lampshade. Electricity runs the fridge. Whatever we have in our home, everything electricity running. So without that, these things, gadgets would not work. But can we see the electricity moving inside through the wires? We cannot. So similarly, Krishna's energy keeps working through the entire universe like all pervading. That's why the sun is rising, the sun is shining, and through that shining, sun illuminates the entire universe. All the planets are moving, the plants are coming, the flowers are blooming, the birds are singing, and so on and so forth. So it is basically through his energy, which is to be understood like how the electricity. Another example we can think is air. Now, we cannot see the air. Air is one of the most important material elements of this creation. But where is the air in front of our material vision? We are not able to see. Whereas air, as you know, through Avyakta Murtina, like Avyakta Murtina, unmanifested form, it is all pervading. It is filling everywhere. It is entering our home. It is coming into the city. It is entering, going through the mountains like a wind. It is going through the forest. So we believe and we have faith in air. Similarly, sunlight. The sunlight enters everywhere. It does not discriminate. It enters the classroom. It enters the bedroom. It enters a tiny puddle of water. And yet it does not, leave the sky. It's always there. So simultaneously is present everywhere across the universe. So likewise, Krishna, remains in his eternal abode, like how the sun remains in his original place. So Krishna remains in his eternal abode while simultaneously entering the universe through his expansions and unlimited energies. And this is the one of the finest examples that Srila Prabhupada explains even in the purport. And this example is that of the king. So this king who sits on the throne and is managing all the affairs. So how does he rule the kingdom? He basically creates the policies. He creates certain rules, which which is implemented. It is implemented through his people, through his servants, through various departments. He may have so many departments. Like even in the country, we have seen the prime minister sets up so many departments like irrigation, education, agricultural, defense, and so on and so forth. Different departments, and every department has got its head. There is also a chief minister. There's a council of ministers. So the policies are nicely, distributed, and in that way, the physical law, everything gets properly distributed. The policies are sent to the department heads, and the department heads, they represent this, and through them it is present through the entire country or the entire kingdom. So the king remains in his palace, but we see the king's presence through the way the kingdom or the country is governed, through the policies. So in the same manner, Krishna is invisible to our eyes, but is present everywhere through his energies. So therefore, Krishna is all pervading, and that is the essence of Krishna consciousness. You have to develop this, knack of seeing Krishna everywhere. It's a science which comes through devotion. When you see flowers, appreciate the fragrance. For who gives a fragrance to the flowers? Who gives the different colors to the flowers? Where does it come from? So that should remind us of Krishna. Similarly, when we see the fruits, different fruits are available for us to enjoy. Different colors, different shapes, different tastes. So who makes them grow for our purpose? It is Krishna. Similarly, when we see the sun rise and when we see the sunset, etc., and because of the sun, so many things are happening, vegetation, the growth, everything, beautiful things happening around us. The nature is so beautiful. We are able to appreciate the nature. So all the beauty that we see around us should remind us of Krishna. So the whole world becomes very beautiful, if you think of Krishna. And so from this verse, what we understand is Krishna is, when we say Avyakta Murtina, he is present everywhere through his wonderful energies. Whether we see sunlight, whether we see beautiful birds singing, whether we see the beautiful flowers, whether we see the lakes, ponds, mountains, etc. Similarly, at home, when we see our gadgets working, the electricity in our home should remind us of Krishna. And similarly, in our Krishna is present everywhere, and yet Krishna does not lose his identity. He's there in his own original spiritual home. So nature can help us remember Krishna every day. Look at the patterns of butterfly, the various colors of the butterfly. So beautifully it is helping us to remind of Krishna. So seeing Krishna's presence everywhere fills our heart with gratitude. So this should automatically enable us to, be thankful to Krishna for everything that he has given us and everything that is showing us around us, and through our hearts, we should be able to really appreciate it. Now we go to the next verse, that is verse number 5, 9.5, okay, where Krishna is about to reveal his mystic opulence, Yogam Aishwaryam. So let's see the verse. It's on the screen. न च मत्स्तानि भूतानि पश्य मे योगमैश्वर्यम् भूतभृन्न च भूतस्थो ममात्मभूत भावनः. So what does it mean? Machamat bhutani. So everything is not in me. So again, now he's giving a bunch of, it appears contradiction. Pashyame yogyam aishwaryam. Behold my mystic opulence. So it means that when he says that everything is not in me, it means that he is not dependent on anything, which we saw in the previous verse, and he is not attached to anything. So Pashyame Yogam Aishwaryam means he says, now you behold my mystic opulence. I am inside everything, but I am simultaneously maintaining everything too. I am inside and I'm outside everything, and I'm simultaneously maintaining everything too. So that is my power. That's my mystic power, my Yoga Aishwaryam. I am not dependent upon anything, everything, but is dependent upon me. That is my power. So I was thinking, the best example for this would be, imagine in Bhagavatam we understand that from Bhagavatam we understand that Krishna expands into various avatars, incarnation. One of the primary avatars is Purusha avatar. Purusha avatar is Karano Dakshaya Vishnu, Garbho Dakshaya Vishnu, and Shiro Dakshaya Vishnu. So Karano Dakshaya Vishnu is the expansion of, like, same as Mahavishnu, which is lying in the ocean of Karana ocean. And when he is breathing in and breathing out, so when he breathes out, millions and billions of universes are coming out from his pores. And then he's just through a glance, he's now showering all the inside the universe, he's filling them with all the jivas. And then he enters into that universe also, each of these universe that is created as Garbhodakashaya Vishnu. He enters each and every so that means he is inside the universe also, and is outside. Outside is present as Karnodakshaya Vishnu, and inside is now going as Garbhodakashaya Vishnu. So Pashyam me Yogam Aishwaryam, behold my mystic opulence. That's what he says. And imagine within this universe now there is a place called as Earth. And within this Earth planet, there is a place called as Vrindavan. And within this Vrindavan, there is a small, palace, Nanda Maharaj's palace. And within this palace, there is a courtyard where Krishna is performing his beautiful pastimes. And one of the most famous pastimes we know is the mud eating pastime, or Mridabhakshan Leela. So when he's performing this pastime, and Mother Yashoda is questioning him, Krishna, please open the mouth. I've seen you have eaten the mud. So he says, no. And when Maya Yashoda says, open the mouth, and he opens the mouth, what did he reveal inside this mouth? This entire universe is there. So this mouth, where is the mouth? In Krishna's body. And inside that, the universe is also there. And where is Krishna? In Vrindavan. Where is Vrindavan? In the earth planet. Where is earth planet? In the universe. And this universe has come out from Mahavishnu's pores, body. So now Krishna is showing this entire universe in his mouth. So simultaneously he is present inside also and is present outside also. So this is Pashyame Yogam Aishwaryam. That is, behold my mystic opulence. And then he says in the next two lines, what does he say? Bhuta brin nacha bhutosto. That is, although I am maintaining everything, I am not part of this creation. And then he says, Amatma Bhuta Bhavana. For myself is the very source of creation. So although I am maintaining everything, and everything sustains upon me, I am not part of the creation. For myself is the source of very creation. So this is like showing like I've created this, but I'm detached from it. So let's understand this from this example. Now here you see a beautiful tree, and the tree has got so many birds. So just like the birds are resting on the tree, the birds are dependent upon the tree, correct? Because they're resting. But is the tree dependent upon the birds? No. The tree is completely independent of the birds. Whether the birds are resting on the tree or not, the tree is completely independent. So just like how the birds depend upon the tree, just like how the tree is not dependent upon the birds, Krishna is actually completely independent. All the universes are resting on Krishna. So the universes are depending upon Krishna. But the Krishna is not dependent upon the material world. So that just like how the tree remains independent, so does Krishna. So that's how we can correlate from this example Krishna's independence. Another way of looking at it is, see, on the sky, you see hundreds of birds flying every day. You see so many planes also flying across it day in and day out. Clouds come and go. But after they go, none of them leave any mark on the sky. Again, the sky is once again, like a clear sky, we say clear sky. So when required, the birds fly. When required, the aeroplane comes and goes. When required, the clouds come and go. But they are all within the realm of the sky. Within the realm of the sky, they are all there. The sky is supporting them, hmm, and yet the sky is completely untouched, or you can say unattached to them. So similarly, Krishna supports the entire universe, and nothing can limit him, and it is not a burden also upon him. Okay, just like the sky is not burdened by the birds flying or these aeroplanes flying or the clouds coming and going. So Krishna is residing in Goloka, is Goloka eva nivasati akilatma bhuto. He's always there, and yet he is not burdened or attached with all these planets and universes which are resting upon him. Another good example is, think of an author. The author conceives a lot of, when before he's writing a story, he conceives all the storyline. He conceives the character, which may include a village, which may include a mountain, which may include some adventurous thought that comes to his mind, and the whole story depends upon the author. But the author is not trapped inside the story. It's completely outside him. So similarly, Krishna, as an author, is existing outside the book, while he's still controlling everything inside. The author controls the book, but he's not part of the book. He's outside the book. So likewise, Krishna is managing each and everything, sitting outside, and he creates and maintains the universe, but he's never confined to the book like the author, unlike the author. So it's exactly that. So Pashyame Yogyam Aishwaryam. Behold my mystic power. So I think this is clear. So in another example, Krishna gives us sunlight, and millions of planets get illuminated. He supplies air through which every living creature lives and breathes. He provides food for the birds, animals, insects, fish, everything. And of course, after all that also, he gives so much of power energy, and his power never decreases or diminishes. It's always, one minus one doesn't become zero. One minus one is one in Krishna's in spiritual world. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnasya Purnam Adaya Purna Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnam Adaya Purnam Eva Vashishyate. So everything is, even if it looks like it is removed from him, it still remains as it is, complete in whole. So that is how Krishna's energies are. He is a creator, he is a maintainer of everything, and yet he is completely independent and detached from everything. He can create everything into existence at his will, whenever he wants. He is present in every living beings, but yet he remains independent in his own eternal kingdom of Goloka. Goloka eva nivasati akilatma bhuto. We go to verse number 6, 9.6 now. Now here Krishna himself gives a beautiful analogy. And what is that? Yataksha stito nityam vayuhu sarvatra go mahan tata sarvani bhutani mastaniti upadharaya. So he says that, like a metaphor, understand that as a mighty wind. He's comparing like a mighty wind blowing everywhere. This mighty wind rests always in the sky. Similarly, all the created beings rest on me. So this gives an idea of Lord as a supreme shelter. How Lord is providing the supreme shelter to us. Yata akasho sito nityam. So in the akash, something is sthito nityam. What is that? Vayuhu sarvatra. So Vayuhu sarvatra gomahan. Like the mighty wind is constantly blowing everywhere. Not a single place where wind goes or doesn't go. But wherever it goes, it rests on the sky only. It is not beyond the realm of the sky. It cannot go beyond that. So, tata sarvani bhutani, in a similar way, all the created beings, even if they take shelter, whether on land or water, tree, mountain, in any country, etc., sky, whether lower planets, upper planets, wherever it may be, ultimately they are matstani, matstaniti upadhareya. They rest on me. That's what Krishna says. So we have an example of the wind analogy that Krishna himself gives, beautiful analogy. So we have all experienced wind, either in the cold season or in the hot season. If it goes over the mountains, it gives a nice cool breeze, and it goes over the desert, in the hot climate, it gives a very hot breeze. So wherever it goes, whether it is forest or cities or mountains or deserts or even oceans, etc., we experience the breeze on our body. So similarly, the living beings, whether they are animals or birds, or plants or human beings, or even devatas in the upper planets or the lower planets in the hellish planets, etc., wherever they are, everyone is dependent upon Krishna. That is what it means. So in other words, everyone takes shelter of Krishna. They are under the control of Krishna. Hmm? Sometimes our false ego, like the atheists, some of the philosophers, they don't accept this point. They don't accept the presence of Krishna at all. They don't accept the presence of God. So that is the ego. But the fact remains that Krishna is maintaining each and every living entity. Everyone depends upon the Lord's energy for survival. So you can see here the fish is swimming under the water. It may swim fast, it may swim slowly, whatever, or it may hide itself under the rock. But wherever it goes, it remains inside the ocean only. It cannot go beyond the ocean. So likewise, the living beings are all Krishna's creation. Whether we remember Krishna or we forget him, we are all depending upon him all the time. And he's our supreme shelter. Another beautiful example is that of a baby. The baby always sleeps very peacefully on the mother's arms, on the lap, and it feels very safe when the mother is giving it a nice hug and cuddling it. So the baby realizes how much care he or she is receiving, because the baby is constantly under the watch of mother's supervision. It is not mother's control. It is a control of love, actually. The mother is expressing its love. And it's not as if to command over the baby. It is expression of love. So in the same way, Krishna lovingly supports every living being at every moment. So he's always, Upadrishta and Anumanta. He is the overseer and he is the sanctioner, both. In a loving way, he does that. So he's a supreme shelter. So summary of 9.6, Krishna is everything. Everything rests on Krishna. Krishna creates everything. He maintains as per his free will. Everyone is performing the responsibility as per Krishna's order. They may not realize it, but it is actually Krishna's order is being fulfilled by everyone. Now we go to the 7th verse, the 9.7. Now this is a very, very technical verse, but it's very, very interesting to understand. And we must understand it from Brahma's perspective also, how Brahma is viewing it. So this verse is given here. Sarvabhutani kaunteya prakritim yanti mamikam kalpakshe punastani kalpado vrishyaamyaham. Kalpakshe. Kalpakshe is the cosmic time, the cosmic creation, the cosmic destruction, and the duration. All that comes under the Kalpakshe. So the theme really is that Krishna, Sarva Bhutani Kaunteya, Prakritim Yanti Mamikam. So, O son of Kunti, at the end of 1 millennium, so 1 millennium is Kalpakshe, that is Kalpa. Kalpa is 1 day of Brahma. Just like how we have 1 day which has 12 hours and 1 night again it has 12 hours. Similarly, Kalpakshe Punastani. Kalpakshe Punastani is at the time of destruction when it takes place at the end of 1 kalpa, that is at the end of Brahma's 1 day. Again, Kalpadau Vishrajamyami aham. That means I once again create. Again I create. So whatever I've destroyed, once again I create. So this cosmic cosmos is basically created and destroyed, created and destroyed. So Brahma's one day is basically, we have to understand what is the duration of kalpa. So first of all, we have to understand. Now I said 12 hours of one day and 12 hours of night for us constitutes 24 hours. So similarly, one day of Brahma constitutes the 1,000 times 4 yuga. So one Divya Yuga is basically one Kali Yuga plus one Dwapar Yuga plus one Treta Yuga and plus one Satya Yuga. So Kali Yuga is 4,32,000 years. So if Kali Yuga is X, Dwapar is 2X, Treta is 3X, and Satya is 4X. So X, 2X, 3X, 4X. The total is 10X. So this 10X is one Divya Yuga or one Chatur Yuga. Now if you multiply this by 1,000 times, imagine 1,000 times of that is one day of Brahma. That is equivalent to 4.3 billion earthly years. Yes, 4.3 billion earthly years is one day of Brahma. Another 4.3 billion earthly years would be his night. So total Brahma's 24 hours is 8.6 billion earthly years. Now to calculate this Brahma's lifetime, you multiply 8.6 billion into, that is one day, into 365 days, into 100 years, assuming Brahma lives for 100 years. So that comes to something like 311 trillion years, 40 billion, 311 trillion, 40 billion years. Calculator cannot calculate it, but this is given in the scriptures. That is what is Brahma's lifetime. So here what Krishna says is Sarva Bhutani Kaunteya Prakritim Yanti Mamikam. That means at the end of the millennium, one kalpa of Brahma, that means 1,000 Divya Yugas, which is 4.3 billion earthly years. I once again, at the end of one day, I once again destroy and once again I create this whole cosmic manifestation. So that is what this means. So in this, what gets destroyed and what is preserved? So at the end of, so there are different types of destruction. One destruction takes place at the end of Brahma's one day, that is Pralay. And then there is another major destruction that happens at the end of Brahma's lifetime, that is 100 years. So here Krishna is talking about one kalpa at the end of one day of Brahma. So at the end of one day of Brahma, the lower planets, there are 14 planets, Bhuloka, then Bhuvar, Swarga, Mahar, Taha, Tapar, Jana, and Satyaloka, and below there is all the Patal Lokas. So all these 14 lokas are there, out of which the 10 lokas, that is the 7 lower, and the Bhuloka and Swargaloka, these will get destroyed at the end of Brahma's one day. And what happens to Maharloka? Maharloka is not destroyed, but they experience the heat of destruction. And because of that, the residents of Maharloka, they go to the Tapaloka. And then they reside there for some time till once again the creation happens and the remaining lokas are created. So, and however, the upper lokas like Mahar, Tapa, and also Satyaloka, they are destroyed, including Janaloka, they are destroyed only at the end of Brahma's lifetime, 100 years of Brahma. Otherwise, they are not destroyed. So what happens when Brahma goes to sleep is that when these lower planets are all getting destroyed, the entire universe, that means these parts, they go into sleep mode. All the jivas, they enter back into Garbhodakashaya Vishnu, and we all go into sleep mode until the next creation happens. And when the next creation happens, once again, the Lord glances and all these jivas, they emerge, and through Prakriti gives the bodies to each one of them, and we get different body based on our karma. So this is how we can understand. Very simple explanation of this is, now in a classroom which is filled with all the students during the daytime, during the school hours, suddenly at the end of school hours, the students pack their bags, leave the classroom, and go home. Suddenly the classroom appears deserted. The students are not there because they have gone back home. Or the same thing happens in the office. The daytime, it is rush hour, everybody is sitting in the office and working. At the end of the day, suddenly the office looks deserted because all the employees have gone home, isn't it? So similarly, at the end of the cosmic cycle, that is one kalpa, Brahma's one day, which is 4.3 billion years, what happens? The entire cosmic cycle is unmanifested, or destroyed, and all the activities are stopping. And then again, when the next cycle begins, when the next day starts of Brahma, and the whole creation is once again manifested back, and the cycles are restored, and all the jivas get different bodies depending upon their past karma. So therefore, we understand from this, nature has got different types of cycles. They come and go like the seasons. Like you have the spring season where the trees and the flowers bloom, the birds sing, and you have nice scenic beauty. And then comes the fall where all the leaves fall away, the birds disappear, and the nature looks very gloomy, very icy winters. eh? The trees lose flowers and everything look very quiet. And again, the spring season returns. And when the spring returns, once again, the new leaves come and the flowers grow again, they bloom, and once again, the birds start singing. So, like that, the nature has cycles. So, Krishna gives the creation, and then during the creation, everything appears. And then at the end of creation, everything looks gloomy, dark, and they disappear. And once again, Krishna creates next creation, like a cycle of seasons. The creations come and go. We all come and go depending upon the cycles of birth and death. Now, here is another classic example of how the potter, he takes the ingredients from the earth only. From the earth, the potter takes the ingredients and he gives it a nice shape, and he creates a nice earthen pot. Okay, and this earthen pot serves different purposes. Some people use it for storing water. Some people use it to grow some plants. Some people use it to store some grains, and different purposes it can serve. But when the pot becomes slightly worn out or it breaks, once again it goes back to the earth and gets mixes, and once again it is destroyed. So this, through the cycle, we can understand how earth is created through the dust. Once again, this is pot is coming and it is going. So Krishna is conveying that all the material elements have creation and destruction simultaneously, and this is what Krishna is conveying through this sloka. And as Kali Yuga is, now we are in the season of Kali Yuga, as Kali Yuga is advancing, irreligion becomes prominent, adharma keeps on growing because it's the fourth season after Satya Yuga, Treta, Dwapar. And so Krishna at the end of this season will reset the creation button, and once again Satya Yuga will start. So what is more important for us is to realize the purpose behind this universe creation. The purpose is to give these jivas, all of us, another opportunity to perform bhakti and to connect back with him. In the spiritual world, it is always eternal. There is no creation, and there is no destruction. People always perform bhakti. It is service all the time. But in this world, it is always material activities because it's a material world. So Krishna is giving us an opportunity to remember him through this creation. And once we realize that, it's an opportunity, we can practice bhakti and we can go back to the spiritual world. So now we come to verse number 8, 9.8, where it's a continuation where Krishna gives us another chance. As Prabhupada says, second chance. So Krishna is giving us another chance where through material creation, once again, he's giving us nice bodies based on our past karmas. And then we get one more chance to realize him and then practice. Prakartim swam avasthabhya vishrajami punah punah bhutagramam imam krishnam avasham prakartir vashat. Prakritim swam avasthabhya. So he says, I enter into the Prakriti. How do I enter? Prakriti is basically the three modes of nature. So I enter into the three modes of nature, Visrajami, Puna Puna, and create this material world again and again through the elements of these modes of nature. Modes of nature are actually responsible for creating this material world again and again. Bhuta, Bhuta Gramam Imam Krishtam. So this complete, all this entire material manifestation, which is comprising of what? Avasham Prakritir Vasat. That is under Krishna's will, all this entire, whatever is annihilated, everything is annihilated by the force of material nature. So, and here Krishna is explaining how through his expansion all this is happening. So we will see this expansion. So Krishna in his original form is always present in Golokadam, in Goloka Vrindavan, spiritual world. He is aloof, he is detached from all this material world creation, material activity. However, his expansion as Mahavishnu, a Karanodakshaya Vishnu, is lying in the causal ocean. And through Mahavishnu or Karanodakshaya Vishnu, the breathing, through his breathing, all the different universes are created. And so, in other words, Mahavishnu is the soul of this entire creation. And then once the creation happens with so many universes, now he enters each and every universe as Garbhodakshaya Vishnu through another expansion. So Krishna expands as Mahavishnu, Mahavishnu expands as Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu enters into each and every universes, and Garbhodakshaya Vishnu becomes the soul of those universes. And then through the glance of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, the various Jiva Tattvas are created now. So these Jiva Tattvas, which are now created in the various universes, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu enters into their heart as Shirodakshaya Vishnu. That's further expansion. And then he becomes super soul. So first super soul is Mahavishnu, then he becomes super soul as Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and the third super soul, he becomes our individual super soul for each and every Jivatma of this living soul, without any distinction, each and every living being. So in Christian religion, they say animals don't have soul, they don't have super soul, etc. Whereas here, Krishna clearly says that he enters as Shirodakshaya Vishnu into every planet, into every jiva. Not only living, but even non-living atoms he is entering. So that is what he says. So we are so fortunate that we are getting a chance to become, because there, we could have become any other species. In fact, we would have become some other species. We have transcended so many other species before becoming human species, and that also under human species we have become devotee. We are born in a devotee family. We are practicing bhakti. That is a good fortune for all of us. So we are really fortunate because the fortune is determined from our past karma. The other day we visited a zoo in the neighborhood of North Carolina, and in the zoo we saw so many living species. We saw the tiniest of tiniest reptiles. We saw the tiniest of tiniest insects. Then we saw the bigger reptiles. When inconceivable, what all they are capable of, how they are living for the sustenance. And then the animals, the different categories of animals, different types of elephants, tigers, lions, crocodiles, and whatnot. So when we saw that, we were wondering at some point of time we must have been through all these species. That is the realization that we get when we visit the zoo. Not that we are trying to understand the mechanics of those animals, but we try to understand from the spiritual perspectives that we have been. Krishna is reminding us, when you look at them, you should be reminded that you were once in one of your previous lives like that. And now he gave you an opportunity to become a human being, and a responsible human being, a more fortunate human being, because we have taken up Krishna consciousness. We are discussing today the teachings and practice of Bhakti Yoga. We got an opportunity to, from this we have an opportunity to develop that escape velocity, and the escape velocity is required. That's a bullet for us, Krishna consciousness, so that we can escape out of this material world and enter into spiritual realm, enter into spiritual world where there is no birth, repeated birth and death cycle. We are always eternal in the spiritual realm. But if this opportunity is wasted, once again, if this opportunity is not utilized, then once again we become unfortunate souls, and we will once again develop material desires. And as you can see, Krishna will fulfill those material desires, and when we will get trapped. And again, Punarjanma will keep on having this birth and death cycle. And it will go on, and it will be never ending. So therefore, Krishna, by his costless mercy, creates and recreates this universe only for us to get a chance, for us to come out of this universe. Otherwise, our life is hell. And we studied this earlier also in the earlier chapter, that our last thoughts dictate our next life. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tejatya ante kalevaram tam tam evati konteya sada tad bhava bhavitaha. So we have accumulated so many desires, and whatever desires at the time of death, we have, that determines our next life. So therefore, we need to purify our desire. We need to purify our consciousness, so that automatically we don't get the wrong thoughts, wrong desires at the time of death, and we get the right desires based on the activities. Because as you can see, there are different types of karma. Papa karma, if you do papa karma, that is cruel life, meanful and selfish life, harmful to everyone, then we take birth in lower species. And if you do punya karma, we do charities, we do good to people, we are very kind to everybody, then again we take birth in this material world only. It's not that we go into spiritual world, but we get birth in a wealthy family, in a beautiful family, in a so-called, we are born with a golden spoon and all that, charity oriented, etc. But still we are stuck in this material world. However, Krishna says, if you practice bhakti, if you practice devotional service to Krishna, then we go back to him, we transcend back to Goloka Vrindavan. So that is our next, that should be our aim, that should be our only goal, that here we have an opportunity and we want to go to the next life, next birth. And that should be in Goloka Dham. So summary of this verse is, the universe is being created again and again. We should not be, the wise person will not be astonished by this. Krishna expands into various expansion and through his energies, Mahavishnu, Garbhodaksha Vishnu, Shirodaksha Vishnu, and he sustains all his creation through them. And the living entities, we as living entities, we take birth as per our previous desires, and whatever thoughts are accumulated, that forms the basis of the next birth. And the sooner we get desire about thoughts about Krishna, to serve Krishna, the sooner, the earlier we come out of this cycle of birth and death, and we go back to him into Golokadam. Now we come to the second last verse of the day, 9.9. And somebody will say that Krishna is doing, through 7th and 8th verse, we came to know that Krishna is creating, is destroying the universe periodically. So this looks like a material activity. And we have been groomed through Bhagavad-Gita only, that when you do material activity, it means that you are caught in karma bandhan. That is, you are caught in this material cycle of birth and death. So does Krishna also have this kind of karma bandhan? So this is answered in this particular verse by Krishna himself. He says, Nacha mam tani karmani nibadnandanti dhananjana jaya udasinavad asinam ashaktam teshu karmasu. What is the meaning of that? He says, all those activities, that is, whatever activities Krishna is performing, tani karmani, na. In the first line, he says na. So they cannot bind me. So here is answering our idea. If you think that all these activities what Krishna is performing, will it bind him? He says, all those activities cannot bind me. Na cham mam tani karmani. And udasina vad asinam. Because why? He is seated as a neutral person. Udasina was asinam. Asinam is seated. Udasina neutral. And asaktam teshu karma. So asaktam means completely. So asakti is attachment, but na in the first line says na. So all this is na asaktam. So that means he is completely detached from all these activities. So that is the meaning, and we can see this O Dhananjaya, all this work, that is whatever is performing of creation and annihilation, cannot bind me. I am never attached. I'm ever detached from all these material activities because I am seated as though neutral. So Krishna is answering very clearly that he does not have karma because he is completely neutral. So let's understand this, because in the purport, Prabhupada gives a beautiful analogy, that of a high court judge. So we'll compare the high court judge with Krishna's wisdom here. So the high court judge, what does he do? He patiently goes through the case. He punishes the wrong after hearing both the sides, and he pronounces the verdict, because the verdict is primarily to punish the wrong person and to protect the correct person, or the innocent person, or the victim, or whoever. So now, by this doing that, is he favoring the victim? No, he's only doing justice to the victim, isn't it? In real fact, actually, he's neutral. He's completely neutral. He is just applying the law of justice. And by applying the law of justice, he punishes the person who has done wrong. And it may appear that he is favoring the victim, but he is not. And now, apart from this, this same High Court judge, now this is his office. Now, when he goes home, does he carry all this verdict and pronouncement, etc., at home? No. He has his own private life, isn't it? So, in his private life, personal life, he'll be a different person. He'll be, totally free with his wife. He'll be playing with his children. He'll not be acting like a neutral person, like an advocate, judge in the court. No. So, similarly, Krishna is doing all the activities in the material world by controlling them in a neutral manner, by being completely, the intent is complete detachment. But back home in his spiritual world, he is a different person. He's completely personal. He's completely doing all his activities, loving activities, performing all his pastimes in the spiritual world. But in the material world, he's doing his activities through his agents, through his supervisors, and it may look like as if he's acting tough. But in the reality, he's unbiased. He's completely neutral to all these activities. The reality is actually he loves each and every living species, each and every jiva he loves. Loving, and also is responsible for them, because as a parent, we are responsible for our children. We have lovingly brought them into the world, so we have to be responsible. That is the real love. But here Krishna says that when you love, it does not mean, detaching from somebody, it does not mean irresponsibility. Or when you are responsible, it does not mean you're attached. So responsibility does not mean attachment, and irresponsible does not mean detachment. So it's basically you have to be responsible also, and at the same time you have to be detached, because we are all individual souls. We are all part and parcels of Krishna. That is the higher understanding. So here Krishna is very much loving and caring to all the living beings. He is completely at the same time absorbed in all his spiritual activities in the spiritual world. But he has got nothing to do with the material world. You can see he's completely playful. In the spiritual world, you can play with him, you can sit on his shoulder, you can play various games with him, and he becomes bound by the love that in the spiritual world his sakas have. He carries the shoes of Nanda Maharaj on his head. Lot of different hide and seek games he plays with his Saka friends. And in the material world, it may look as if he's acting tough. In reality, he's got nothing to do with the material world. He's primarily only implementing the laws of nature. So all this, uh, whatever duties of the material world we are seeing, Krishna is that performing that. He's creating the cosmos, but he remains completely unattached because he's neutral. So that puts him above the laws of karma, and therefore there is no reaction. He is always, involved in his eternal, blissful spiritual pastimes. This is exactly like the analogy that we spoke about the High Court judge, the court. And as we know, the material world is full of dualities. And Krishna is transcendental to all of this. There is heat and cold. Krishna is not affected. There is rich and poor. Krishna is totally not affected by this. There is duality of happiness and sorrow. Krishna is completely not affected by this because these are all temporary. Krishna is not affected by these things. All these dualities do not bind him at all. And it is Krishna's energy who are doing everything. And that's another reason why Krishna is completely independent. As you can see, the Krishna's energy are making the earth revolve around the sun. Krishna is making energy through sun, is making the rising and setting of the sun also. Through his energy, the rain is coming and growing the crops, and yet he remains completely detached. So all this actually gives us the information that Krishna is not at all attached to any of his activities and is not bound by karma. He is actually controlling them. He is not controlled by them. Finally, we come to the last verse of the day, that is verse number 10. Then this is the verse where this is a very important verse of Bhagavad Gita and one of the most popular verses. If possible, one has to by heart this, memorize this, because through this verse, Krishna is actually telling us how he is carrying out the activities in this world. Maya dakshena prakritihi shuyate sa characharam hetuna anena kaunteya jagad viparivartate. So Maya Dakshena. So this basically you can say is like a Krishna is giving us a theme that how he functions or how he directs or how he supervises the entire Prakriti. Maya Dakshena Prakriti. So he says under my direction, under my supervision, this material world is actually acting. And which are the things? Suyate cha characharam. So both chara, that is moving, and achara, that is non-moving. Completely, all those are under my direction. They are moving. So both these are produced under my direction. Hetunanena kaunteya. So due to, there is a reason. Hetunani, this is a reason. There is a rule that I have created, O son of Kunti. He says the Hetunanena. So due to this reason, that is the supervision which is carried out by my direction, this whole moving and non-moving living entities are created. Jagat viparivartate. So therefore, this entire world, Jagat, is subject to creation and annihilation, both. So this material nature, which is one of my energies, is working under my direction, O son of Kunti, producing all the moving and non-moving beings. So how do we understand this? Very simple. So here is a practical example. Now you see in any company, there's a CEO. Now the CEO is overseeing the entire business. And this business includes the company basically works on the basis of sales department, marketing, production, finance, HR, customer support or customer service, customer satisfaction. So the CEO is an overseer of all these departments. But does he physically have to go on the field to make a sale? No. Does he have to make a marketing plan? Doesn't have to. He's got a marketing department. Does he have to go on the shop floor of the production department to see what is going on? Where he doesn't have to go. There's a production department that will take care. Does he have to worry about the day-to-day finances, etc.? No, he has got a department that is doing it. Does he have to go into recruitments of people? For which department, what kind of people and what skills they need? No, that HR will take care. Does he have to individually govern the customer satisfaction, customer support, customer service? No, that the customer service department will take care. But yes, in the overall plan of the organization that he rolls out through his policies, all these are included. So in that way, he's overseeing everything, yet he is not going into individual departments. So in the same way, Krishna is overseeing this entire material world, his activities through these energies. and through his supervisors. Who are the supervisors? The demigods, the devatas. You have got Brahma, who's involved in the creation of the second creation. Then there is Indra, who is creating the rain. Then you have got Varuna, who's basically in charge of the water department. Vayu in charge of the air department. Agni in charge of the fire department. Then Yamaraj, who is in charge of the tying the noose around uh, the soul at the time of final departure from the body. So that is Yamaraj, who decides, just gives the justice, punishment, etc. So all that comes under the purview of the Lord, but he doesn't have to individually break his head upon each and everything. So, you know, each and everything functions very systematically, smoothly under all his creation. So this is how we can understand the glories of the Lord as a supreme director. So all the living entities, thus he becomes the seed-giving father. You can see that because he's a seed-giving father, Aham Bija Pradapita, everyone has to surrender unto the Krishna's will. We may have our individual desire, but then Krishna's desire is ultimate. So if we can serve him, then he will reveal his desire to us and we can serve him suitably. And just through his glance, he creates the entire universe. He impregnates the universe with a seed. And then from that seed comes another seed. And that way, the real seed, the seed goes into the womb of the mother. And we all have our existence through that seed because he is the supreme father. And then different species of life is created through that seed, as father being Krishna. And then ultimately, because he is the supreme father, he loves the material world, he loves the creation, he loves the jivas, because he is a sanctioner, just like the appliances work based on the electricity. The key message here is that everything happens as per Krishna's will. The child might be bugged that why the mother is stopping him from going out to do a particular task or going out to play. Mother says, not now. Okay, there'll be another time that I'll send you to go to play. But child will insist, but the mother will still stop. And ultimately, when the child doesn't listen, then the mother tries in her own way to convince the child. So similarly, when we are obedient, then we are dovetailing to Krishna's will. When we are disobedient, then Krishna says, okay, you follow your will, and that's why I create the material world for you to enjoy. And then you make a realization and you come back to me. So that is where we are. We were disobedient, we are not listening. That's why we got the birth again. And now we have a chance, second chance, to go back to him. So let's use that chance. So we discussed about the our ignorance of not knowing that the electrical goods work on appliances work on electricity. So as soon as we get that knowledge through Bhagavad-Gita that Krishna is the source of everything, Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo, then automatically he gives us the knowledge. Tesham Satati Yuktanam Bhajatam Briti Purvakam. That knowledge, Dadami Buddhi Yogam Tam. That knowledge comes when we surrender unto his will. So everything comes from Krishna, but he is completely independent and not attached to any of these things. So this is the ultimate lesson that we get from this first 10 verses of Raja Vidya Rajaguyam, that by his will, the cosmos is breathing. By his detachment, he remains free. And by pure devotion, by our pure devotion, dear devotees, we will return back to him. Saying this, I humbly end my session here. And with that, we will go back to our, okay. Now we have our interesting question answer session. I will share the screen for question answer session so that we can quickly review the question answer session and then we can see if anything comes out of that. 1 second. Share. Okay. Session 51. Hope it's visible to the screen. Yes. Okay. Okay. So this is a real fun time for all of us. Just to set the rules, correct answer gives you 50 brownie points. Wrong answer, however, gives you minus 50 brownie points. And there is nothing like in between. Either it is wrong or correct. Sometimes, there will be multiple choices where the answer will be all of the above. So somebody might give two correct answers, but still, because he is not given complete answer, the answer will be considered as wrong, minus 50 points. Okay. So with that, we will enter into the first question. So I need to keep a watch on who is raising the hand first. Fastest finger first. The first question comes on the screen now. So the word anasuyave means, okay. Okay, Ramesh has already raised the hand. The answer A, follower of Krishna. B, knower of Jnanam and Vijnana. 3, non-envious of Krishna. D, recipient of confidential knowledge. And E, all of the above. I think the first person to raise a hand was Ramesh. So I will ask Ramesh to unmute and answer it first. Yes, Ramesh ji, go ahead.
The exact word is non-envious of Krishna. So I'll go with C. Though all of these things meet, since your word, the exact word Anasuyave means non-envious of Krishna, sir. The answer is C.
Okay. So you're sure? No second thoughts?
No, sir, Prabhuji. I'll go with C.
Okay. So I'll lock it and let's see what the answer is. The answer is indeed C. Very well done. Excellent. Excellent. Very well. Very nice. Good beginning. Let's go to question number 2 now. Okay. The question number 2 comes on your screen. Krishna consciousness knowledge is Rajavidya, Rajaguyam, because this knowledge is the king of education and the most confidential of all secrets. Srinidhi is already raised. Okay. This is the purest knowledge, everlasting, and it is joyfully performed. Krishna consciousness gives direct perception of the self by realization, and this is the perfection of religion. It is everlasting, and it is joyfully performed. E, all of the above. All three people have raised the I think Srinidhi, Ramesh, and Saptadeep, but I think Srinidhi was first, so I'll give a chance to Srinidhi first. I'll come to Pooja also later on. So yes, Srinidhi, go ahead.
Prabhuji, all of the above. E.
Spot on, huh? Let me see whether it is correct or wrong. You're sure it is not A or B?
All of the above, Prabhuji.
All of the above.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, so let us see now. 1 second. Excellent. Very, very good. Keep it up, Srinidhi. So the answer is indeed A, all of the above. So 2 out of 2, good going. Now we go to question number 3. Since Krishna is Avyakta Murtina, he can be revealed through our endeavor through gross material senses, devotional service under proper guidance, the eye of devotion tinged with ointment of love, okay, then all of the above, none of the above. All right, only one hand is raised, I think. Since Krishna is Avyakta Murtina, he can be revealed through A, B, C, D, E. Okay, 2 hands are raised. I think Saptadeep was first to raise the hand. So let me go to Saptadeep. Yes, Saptadeep, unmute and give your answer. This can be a little
Hare
tricky,
Krishna
so you
Prabhuji.
can think carefully before answering.
Okay. Uh, uh,
Yes, Saptadeep, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanavatanam. I think
Yes.
it's B and C. Option B and C.
B and C. Okay.
Yes.
Are you sure? Think carefully.
Yeah.
As I said, this is a bit tricky one.
Yeah. The word tinged means it's with the ointment of love. Yeah, it's B and C.
Okay. All right. So I lock. Sure, na?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. Here goes the answer. B and C is indeed the right answer. Very good. Excellent.
Hare Krishna.
Very well done, Saptadeep. Very well. Good. Okay. So now we go to the. 1 second. Okay. We go to the next question. 1 second. Okay. Question number 4 comes on the screen. Krishna is not bound by karmic activities because he is always engaged in spiritual activities and has got nothing to do with material activities. He is neutral and detached from material activities. Krishna's energies are carrying out all his activities in material world. All of the above, none of the above. I see 2 hands raised. Saptadeep. Oh, now 3 hands are raised. Saptadeep, Srinidhi, and Sumati Mataji. So with the permission of Saptadeep and Srinidhi, since both of you have answered one each, right? Shall I go to Sumati Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Yes, Sumati Mataji, please unmute and give your answer.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I think it is D, all of the above.
Okay. So you're sure it is not either A or either B or either C or any one of the 2 combinations?
Wait,
Okay.
let me see one more time. All right. Yeah. I would like to go with D, Prabhuji.
With?
D, all of the above.
Okay, D, all of the above. So I'm locking it and let's see what the answer
Okay.
is. Yes, D indeed is a right answer. Very good. Sumati Mataji, excellent. Excellent. Keep it up. Very
Thank
nice.
you. Thank you.
Very nice. So we'll go to the last question of the day. That is question 5 coming on the screen. Yes. The relationship between Mataji, you can put your hand down now before the question so that yes, Rameshji also can put the. I don't know who raised first because I saw 2 hands, and then you can raise again if you wish afterwards. Yeah. The relationship between Krishna and Prakriti is Krishna supervises Prakriti. Prakriti is one of Krishna's energies. Prakriti works under Krishna's direction. Prakriti provides bodies to all beings moving and non-moving. All of the above. Yeah. Yes, I think Ramesh raised first out of the 2. Out of the 3. Okay, even Pooja has raised her hand now. So Pooja has not answered before. So with your permission, all of your permissions, may I go to Pooja Sharma?
Yes,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Pooja Sharma, please unmute and give the
Yeah,
answer.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Answer is all of the above. Option E.
Answer is all of the above. Answer, okay, option E. Are you sure, Pooja Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, so I'm locking E. and then let me see whether the answer is correct or wrong. Yes, it is the right answer. Very good. I think this is the first time you are participating in our session and you have opened your account with nice 50 brownie points. So that is very good. I'm very happy. And with that, I wanted to share the, one second, the reflection question also. Of course, it will be shared on the WhatsApp also. One second. What happened? I don't know. Yeah. So this is a reflection question for anyone who wishes to participate as a home assignment, and you can do it and submit in 3 days' time. If the king of education is meant to be joyfully performed and directly perceived, what internal barriers might be preventing us from experiencing that transcendental pleasure in our daily lives? Okay, I'll post it in the WhatsApp group also, in our group, Gita Amritam group, and then you can answer it privately to me. Okay. Okay. So with that, we come to the end of session 51 today. And I wish to thank each and every participant for staying back actively, with full rapt attention till the end of the class. And just in case if anybody has any question, I will take 1 or 2 maximum question. Otherwise, we can call it a day. So if anybody wants to ask any question, you can ask now.